you just mentioned ways that casino operators will use psychological principles. I'm wondering, have they used, or perhaps I should say abused, your research? And you mentioned a lot of parallels between psychological principles and what casinos are doing. I'm wondering to what extent there's been learning back and forth. Have they learned from psychology? Have psychology learned from them? Or is it simply two parallel tracks where one thing maps to another, or one thing can be correlated with another?
I think there's parallel tracks. I've never had any data sets from the gaming industry. I would love to get access to some of these data, but they don't make any of that stuff accessible. In fact, they're basically trade secrets of theirs. And it'd be fascinating to see what they do. I know that they have, when you go to these trade shows, they have very sophisticated discussions of the types of protocols they set up with their machines. So they are reading the literature. They're following the literature very carefully. And that gives me some pause. I mean, it makes me sometimes not want to publish things. But I'm doing things in the domain of medicine, so we're trying to help people in terms of psychology and psychiatry. On the other hand, you know, in this parallel area, it doesn't keep them from reading what we're doing. And we've found some amazing things. I mean, we published back just in 2010 a new set of patterns that actually looked to be some of the first behavioral patterns that actually meet Feynman's criteria for lawfulness. And from them, we can derive prospect theory. We can actually derive matching. We can derive alliesthesia that Michel Cabanach came up with. I mean, this is basically a fundamental reward aversion system, a foundation. We can link it now with signal detection theory and attention. We're going to try to link it to the Ebbinghaus memory functions. There's a whole bunch of very sophisticated psychology we're starting to do. In fact, you know, we're even talking with folks like Reed Montague and others about the possibility of being able to mathematically model free will. Now imagine what they would do with that.
If I can follow it up very quickly, what's their reaction when you show up at trade shows? Do they know who you are?
No. I'm sure if I did it enough, they would probably not let me in. And actually, Natasha Schul is the one who's actually done this quite a bit and has actually written a book. I don't know if she's published that book yet.
It's coming out now.
But she's actually spent quite a bit of time going to the trade shows and actually doing basic anthropology of this industry. And it's an eye-opener.